Hi all, welcome to IISN College Connect YouTube channel. In this video sessions, we are discuss about what is a class in Java programming languages. So, what is a class? The class which is used to perform particular task. So, where the class contains the variables and methods, variable is used to store the values which the user is given, and then method is used to perform some of the task, that is a micro task, and also it is helpful for implementing the code reusabilities. So here you see you will be find the syntax for this creating class. The first one is going to be access specifier, and that should be followed by class is a keyword, and that should be followed by the class name. Okay, so let's see what is a class in real-time scenarios. So in Amazon websites, you will be having different types of operations. So what are this? One is going to be the search operations, another one is going to be a login operations, another one is going to be a registration operations. These are the three different types of operations we're having. So we also having the other operations also, add the payment to the cart. Okay, so I'll add the product to the cart. Okay, so like we are having a lot of operations. I'm just taking this three as an example. Okay, so for example, when you are going to perform the searching operations, okay, so you're going to give some values on the text box, right? Okay, so you're going to give values on the text box and you're going to click the search button. Okay, this information will be transferred to this Java programming languages. Okay, so in Java programming languages, so we're having the different types of class. Okay, so for performing the search operations, we are having the search program search file. Okay, so in the search file, so we are having the class called search class. Okay, so where we are going to write the code relevant to the performing the searching operations. Okay, likewise, we are having the login operations. In the login operations, what we are going to do, so we are going to give username and password and then we are going to click the login button. Okay, so here from the front end, it is going to transfer to the Java programming languages. In Java programming languages, we are having the class called login.java. Okay, so the code which is written on the login file is going to be relevant to performing the login operations. Okay, so here when then we are having the registration class. Okay, so here you are having the registration operations. In registration operations, same as we are going to give lot of informations and we are going to click the register button. So when we are giving all the details and click the register button, this informations will be transferred to Java programming languages. In Java programming languages, we are having the class called registrations.java file. Registration.java. So here we are returning the code which is relevant to performing the registrations operations. Likewise, we are having different types of operations. For each different types of operations, we are having different types of classes. So each class is used to perform some particular task. Okay, so as I already told that the class contains the variables and methods. Why we are having the variables? So here you see the user is going to give some details. When we are going to perform this search operation, user is going to give some product iron box and click the search button. Okay, so here this data need to be transferred to the search.java file. Here we are having the variables. Okay, so here we are having the variables which is used to store the values. Okay, so then it is going to transfer the informations to the database and it is going to check whether this particular data is available on the database or not. Okay, same as in the login operations, we are going to give some data and we are going to click the login button. Okay, so then this data will be transferred to the login.java file. Here we are having the variable to capture the values which the user is given on the front end. Okay, so then this data is going to check it on the same database whether the user is the right authenticate person or not. Same as in the registration operations, we have it we need to give some username, phone number, email ID, and we need to click the register button. Okay, so then this information will be transferred to registration.java. Here we are having the variable. Okay, so three different variables to hold three different types of variables. Then three different types of values. Then what we are going to do? We are going to insert those informations which the user given to the database. To capture the values which the user is given on the front end, we need the variable. Okay, so hope you understand what is the class and variables. Let's see details about the variables. How to create a variables. As I already told that variable is used to store the values and each variable is used to store its relevant data type. Okay, so here you see we are having the access specifier, data type and variable name. Or we can have the access specifier, data type and variable name is equal to values. Okay, so what it is mean that relevant data type values. So for example, while we are going to do the registration operations, we are going to give the name, phone numbers and email and other pin code informations and an address. Okay, so while you're going to give the username, so you're going to give the values from A to Z or alphanumerical values. From alphanumerical values, so the username will be going to be Vinod underscore 123. Likewise, we are going to give. So while you are going to give the phone numbers, it will be contains the numbers 1 to 9. So while you're going to give the email ID, so same as it will be contains alphanumerical values. So alphanumerical values means the values from A to Z and 0 to 9, some special characters. Okay, so while you're going to give your first name, so it will not going to be contains any numbers. Okay, so because your name will be going to be in the ranges of A to Z. Okay, so pin code you're going to give the values in from 0 to 9. Okay, for storing each values, we need to give the relevant data types. That is, in case if you want to store the values from A to Z or 0 to 9, you need to give the values should be which data type means string. In case if you want to store the numbers from 1 to 9 and 0 to 9, so you need to have the data type which is going to be int. That is what we need to give it on here. Okay, so email ID is same alphanumerical so that we can use string data type. And then in case if you want to store the values from A to Z, same we can store string data type. From pin code, we can use int. If you want to store the values more than the given range, you can go with this long data type. Okay, so hope you understand what is the data type, what is the variable. Okay, so now we are going to see the syntax of what is method. Okay, so what is the method and how we are going to create a method. As I already told that method is used to perform some micro task. What is a micro task? For example, when you are going to perform this login operations, you are going to give the username and password and you are going to click the submit button. Okay, so here you're going to give those values from the front end, that is in your browser. In backend, that is logical, we are going to collect the information from the user. So, and we are going to store it on its relevant variable. So after that, so we are having a lot of tasks we need to check whether the login user given username and password matches the given criteria or not. Then we need to write some method to check the given values is present in the database or not. Okay, so here you see the login is one task. What is the main task? It need to check whether the username and password is already present on the database. But so we having this some other task also need to be performed. Okay, so we are just breaking this task into multiple things. Okay, so this task is to check whether the username and password matches the given criteria. Then we need to check the values is present on the database or not. Okay, so here we are going to use the method to perform some micro task. Okay, so and also we need to perform the code reusability. In case you want to write the code which is written on this particular method, you want to use it somewhere means you can access the method by using a particular class name or by using the object name. So hope you understand. So what is a class, variables and method? Let's proceed to the implementations of the class concepts. So for that, I'm going to use the IDE, different IDE. Okay, so I'm going to use which IDE means I'm going to use the Eclipse IDE. Okay, so we're having the different types of IDEs. I'm going to use Eclipse IDE. Let's proceed to the implementations of what is a class. For that, I'm going to use, as I already told that, I'm going to use the Eclipse IDE. Okay, so for that, what you need to do, you need to go to the file, new, and then click Java projects. So here, I'm going to give the project's name. So as this is the basic class, okay, so that I'm going to give any name, basic demo session. Okay, so I'm going to see, I'm going to use the versions which is Java 21. So that I'm going to use the versions which is going to be Java 21, and I'm going to click next. And then I'm going to click the finish button. Now you see the project is get created. So basic demo. Okay, so here I'm going to create a class. So for that I need to click the right click on this particular src folder and I'm going to choose class. Here I'm going to give the class name, which is going to be a basics class. Okay, so in the packages, I'm going to give the package name, which can be anything. Okay, so I'm just going to give com.basics. So I'm just going to click finish button. Now you see the classes get created. Okay, so here you see the syntax of the class already we discussed. First one is going to be access specifier, then class, that should be followed by class name. So now what I'm going to create is I'm just going to create a main method. Okay, so main method where the execution is going to be get started. Okay, the syntax for creating a main method is, so that is access specifier public static. So void main. Okay, so here we need to give string. Okay, string args. So we are going to discuss in detail about so all this thing why we are giving public static. Okay, so we are going to discuss in detail. Now you see this is the syntax of creating a class public class name. Okay, so this is the class name that should be followed by main method. In the main method, where the execution is going to be get started. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to create system.out.println. Okay, system.out.println. Okay, so in this, I'm just going to give in the double quotes, welcome to Java program. Welcome to Java program. Okay, done. Okay, so I created the class and I'm going to right click and I'm going to click run as Java application. Now you see we got the output. Welcome to Java programming languages. Let's see how the execution flow will be. So here we are creating the class and then inside this class we are having the main method. So in case, so you're having the creating the projects means we're having the more number of classes. Already we discussed search class, logging class, register class. So all this class will contain only one method, only one main method where the execution is going to be get started. So here you see the execution is going to be start on the main method. Inside the main method, you want to print anything means you need to give those information in the system.out.println. Inside this, whatever the statement you are going to give it on the double quotes is going to be print as it is. So that only we are getting this welcome to Java program. Now what we are going to do is, so we are going to create one class that is going to hold three variables and it is going to get the input from the user. First, what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to create some three variables and I'm going to assign some default values to that particular variable. Later, I'm going to show you how to get the input from the user. Okay, so I'm just going to right click and I'm going to create another class. The class name which I'm going to do is register dot Java. Okay, so here we don't want to give dot Java. I'm just going to click finish. Okay, so now you see we created the class. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a main method. As I already told that the main method where the execution is going to be get started. Okay, so here I'm going to create three different types of variables. Okay, so three different types of variables. Okay, so here so first one is going to be a getting the input from the user, that is a register name. As we are not going to get the input from the user, we are going to store the values in the variable itself. Okay, so as I already told that the syntax is access specifier. We are not giving the any access specifier so that it is going to take the default access specifier and that should be followed by data type and then variable name. Here I am going to assign some values to the variable which is 666. Okay, done. Okay, so then I'm going to create another variable string name. Okay, so as we in Java, we need to create a variable in camel case. Okay, so camel case means the first word should be in lowercase, that should be followed by uppercase. Okay, so that is in the first letter of the word is should be uppercase like this. Okay, camel case. Okay, in username, I'm just going to give as Vinod Kumar. Okay, done. Okay, so then string last name is going to be what? Silverson. Okay, so as of now, we created three variables. Here itself, I am just going to assign the values to the variable. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create one system.out.println. Okay, so inside this, I'm going to print all the values. Okay, so register number. So as I already told that, what are the statement which is given on the double quotes is going to be print as it is. Okay, so register number. Okay, so then I'm just going to give the I'm going to print the username. Okay, so username. Okay, username is so plus username. Okay, so then sys out, I'm just going to print the last name. Okay, so last name is so plus last name. Okay, done. So now you see, I'm just going to run this program. So here you see, we got the output. Let's see how we are getting this output. So for that, I'm moving to this whiteboard. So here I'm going to paste the code. Okay, done. Okay, so now you see, we are going to see the execution flow of this particular coding. Okay, so here, where the execution is going to get started, the execution is going to be start from the main method. Okay, so here you see, we are creating three variables. One is register number, another one is going to be username, another one is going to be last name. So what the Java compiler is going to do, okay, so it is going to create a variable register number. Here you see what values we are assigning to this register number variable. It is 666. Okay, so then we are going to create another variable. What's the variable name? It is username. Okay, so user name. Okay, so values which we are assigning to this value is so Vinod Kumar. So there is some spelling mistakes. Okay, so just leave it. Okay, so here we are having the another variable which is going to be last name. Okay, so values which we are going to assign to this last name is going to be what? Silver RS. Okay, so as of now, we have created three variables. Okay, so this three variables is going to hold these three different variable values. So the memory locations is created for these three variables. Then we are moving to the system.out.println. Okay, as I already told that. So what are the values which is given on the or double quotes is going to be print as it is. So we are going to have register number is going to be print as it is, and it is going to check the values which is present on the register number variable. What is the values which is present on the register number? It is going to be 666. Okay, so then we are having the values which is next, it is moved to the next statement. In the system.out.println, we are having something given on the double quotes. Okay, so what is the values which is given on the double quotes is username is. So it's going to check the values which is present on the username. The values which is present on the username is Vinod Kumar. Vinod Kumar. And it is proceed to the next line after that. So the values given on the double quote is last name is. So it's going to check the something we are given on the double quote so that it is a variable name it's considered, and it is going to check the values which is present on the variable last name is Selvarsan. Okay, so it's going to print the value Selvarasans on here. So now you see this is the output we are getting, right? Okay, so we'll check whether our output will match with this our evaluations. Yes, so here is the output which we are getting is the same as on here. Okay, hope you understand the simple method of how to create a variable and how to print the values which is present on the variables in the class. Now what we are going to do, so now we are going to see how to create a method. Inside this method we are going to perform all these tasks. Okay, so for that I'm going to create the same way of how to create a class. So here I'm going to create another class, register get data from the user. Okay, so here I'm going to create same three different variables inside the class itself. Okay, so inside the class itself. Okay, so previously we created the variables inside the main method. Now we are going to create the variables inside the method. Okay, so now inside the class, sorry. So inside the class we are going to create a variable and we are going to print the values. Okay, so for that I'm going to create a variable register number. Okay, so now I'm just going to create the variables in the class. Okay, so here I'm going to print the I'm just assigning the values to the variable. Then string name is equal to Vinod Kumar. Vinod Kumar. Okay, so then I'm just going to create one method. Okay, so what is the syntax of method? As we already discussed, access specify, return type, method name. Okay, so here I'm just going, in case if you are not giving the access specifier means it is going to take the default access specifier. Okay, I'm not going to give any access specifier. Return type also void. Okay, void means this method no need to return any values. Okay, void print data. So we are going to discuss in details about the method in later videos. Just consider void is used for this method. No need to return any values means you need to give the void data type. Here I am just going to give system.out.println inside this. So I am just going to give register number. And here I am going to give the values, sorry, variable name, register number. And then I'm just going to use this out. Inside this, I'm just going to print the name is plus name. Okay, done. Okay, so now you see we created two variables and one method under one classes. Now we need to print the values which is present on the particular variable. So then I'm going to create a main method. In the main method where the execution is going to be get started, right? Okay, so now you see we are going to create an object for this particular class. Let's see what is the object first. Object is nothing but it is a copy of class. Object is nothing but it is a copy of class. So what the class will normally hold? Okay, class will hold the variables is given by the user, sorry, values which is given by the user. We need to hold it so that variables we are having and then we are having the method. So one classes will hold these two types of things. Okay, so it is a property of this class. Okay, so you need to create a copy of the class means you go with this object. Okay, so we are going to discuss in detail. Okay, so in the implementation part, you may get the complete understanding of what is object. The syntax of creating an object is very simple. Class name, and then that should be followed by object name equal to new class name. Okay, so here this object is going to hold the entire thing what this class is having. Okay, so that is what the object is all about. Okay, by using that object you are going to access all the variables and method which is present on this particular class. Okay, the object is nothing but it is a copy of class. Okay, so just like us. Okay, so we are human being as we are going to hold the hormones of our father and mother, right? Okay, so we are going to hold the copy of our father and mother hormones. Okay, so likewise this object is going to hold the copy of what this class is having. So now you see we are going to create an object of this particular class. Okay, so that we can able to access the variables and method which is present on the particular object. Okay, so the syntax for creating an object is class name and then object name. We can give any name. Okay, so you can give any name. So I'm just going to take the first word, first character of each word. Okay, RGD. Okay, equal to new RGD. Okay, so that the RGD object is going to hold the copy of what this particular class is having. So RGD dot print data. So the syntax for accessing the particular method means object name dot method name. Okay, so now you see we are going to run this program. Okay, so I'm going to explain you the complete flow of the executions. Right click, run as Java applications. Here you see we got out. Okay, so now you see we are going to see the detailed execution of this particular code. Okay, so now where the execution is going to be get started, the execution is going to be start from the main method. Okay, so it is going to create an object RGD. So as I already told that object is going to hold the copy of classes. Okay, what are the things which the class is holding? So here you see what the class is holding. It is going to hold two variables and one method. Okay, so here it is going to create an object variable under RGD object. Okay, so and then name. So here, while we are creating the variable, at the time itself, we are assigning the values. So register number is going to hold 666 and name is going to hold Vinod Kumar. Done. Okay, done. Okay, so now we are going to move to this next line. Once the particular statement is going to be get executed, it is moved to the next line. So what we are having the next line, rgd.print data. It is going to check whether is that any method look like the print data. Okay, so it's there or not. Okay, so here you see we are having the print data over here. So that the control will be get inside. Okay, so here you see what we are returning inside this particular method, something we given on the double quotes. Okay, so that is register number is going to be given on the double quote, so that it is going to be print as it is, and it is going to check the values which is present on the particular variable. The values which is present on the particular variable is 666. What is the values we are having in the register number? So it is 666. It's going to print 666. And then it's moved to the next line. Okay, so we are having something given on the double quotes, so that it is going to be print as it is, which is given on the double quotes. That should be followed by we having the name variable. So what is the values which is present on the name variable, which is going to be Vinod Kumar. So it is going to be printed on the user screen like this. So after executing this, it is finding the closing parenthesis so that it will be back to here. Okay, so no, there is no other any other statement, so that the program is going to be get terminated. So now we are getting this output like this. Okay, so we are going to check it whether we are the output is matching with the Eclipse output. So here you see this one is matching with this one. Okay, so now you hope you understand how to create a variables and method inside the one particular class. Hopefully you will understand what is class, how to create a variables, how to print the values which is present on the particular variable. In case if you like this video, please share this video with your friends. Thank you.